Hey guys, welcome to Two Guys and a Mouse, the show that gives you all the Disney news, tips, and tricks to give you the most out of your Disney vacation. I'm Lance and I'm here with Les, and we're going to talk about our annual pass purchase experience today, coming up next. All right, welcome back, everybody. I don't know if most of you know, but for those who do know, today was annual pass day for Walt Disney World down in Orlando, Florida. And I woke up bright and early this morning. I actually got into the queue a little bit late. But yeah, so we're here to talk about our annual pass experience. Les, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first, or what would you?
You had success today, and I didn't. So why don't we start with the good, and we'll end with the bad.
Okay, so I'll admit I got in the queue a little bit late. So I, for some reason, was under the impression that the annual pass sales went on sale at 8 a.m. Just like the dining reservations and all the other stuff on the Disney website. So I was putzing around, and at 5 after 6, I was like, well, let me just pop on the site. Something told me pop on the site. Pop on the site. I click annual passes, and hey, it put me in the queue. Um, so I got in the queue, and it did a little countdown timer. Initially, it was telling me that it was over an hour wait, and then a couple minutes later, that changed to 20 minutes, and then it changed to maybe 15, 17 minutes, something like that. Anyway, long story short, probably about 15, no more than 15, 20 minutes later after I got into the queue, I actually was able to get on the Disney site and start purchasing my annual passes. So I get on the site, and just as a recap, there are four different sites. There's the Pixie, the Pirate, the Sorcerer, and the Incredipass. The ones that are available to us are the Incredipass and the Sorcerer's Pass for the DVC members. So I log in, and it dumps me back out onto the regular main site, and I'm thinking to myself, "Oh no, I messed up. I'm gonna have to go back in the queue." So I quick go back, hit the annual pass again, and it lets me in. Okay, cool. So I pick up my three passes, and I go through, put in my credit card information, marry the passes to the people in my party, click checkout, boom, done. I th- I think I was done by like 6:30, 6:35. Les texts me at 6:32, and he's like, "Are you in? Come on, sleepyhead, get up." So, so I had gotten my stuff and everything like that, and so I'm good to go. I do have a couple of questions for people out there who did get their passes today regarding the expiration dates on those passes. So typically in the past, it's been that you purchase your pass and you get a voucher, and that voucher is good for however long it's good for. And then on first use is when the actual clock starts ticking on your annual pass. So you get it from a year from first use. At least that's how it used to be, from what I understand. When I look at my MDE app, it does show an expiration date for September 7th, 2022. No, lies. Yes. 7th? 8th. September 7th, 2022, which will be a year from today, because today is the 8th. But that's what it shows. So I just wanted to see if anyone out there could maybe chat in, or drop a comment and let us know if there's any clarification, what the deal is, if it does actually expire a year from today, or if that voucher is good until first use, and then it starts my clock ticking. So, but over to you, Les. I guess you didn't have such a great time this morning.
Yeah. So here's just to touch on what you just mentioned. You're accurate, and when I bought annual passes for my family in the past, it didn't start right away. So I bought the passes many months ahead of schedule of our trip that we were taking that particular year. I think this was back in 2017 or 2018. And basically what happened was, the day before we were planning to go into the first park on our vacation, we were at Disney Springs, and I went to the big guest services building that's there in the middle of Disney Springs. and just simply said, "All right, I'm going to the parks tomorrow. I'm ready to activate our passes." They took care of me. They gave us the cards right away. The magic bands that you used to get, now you don't. That came later on. And actually showed up when we were already back home when our vacation was done, but that was fine because we had other magic bands to use. So, but that's the way it used to be. What I saw from people today was a mix of two things. People saying that if you bought the passes today, that they expired 1 year from today, just as what you thought. I also saw another good portion of people that were saying that's just for the voucher. So the voucher, imagine you have a paper voucher in your hand that says that you just purchased an annual pass or annual passes. And that proves that you paid for them and they're yours. But that voucher would expire in a year from today, not the actual pass itself. So that would lead me to believe that it's the same way that the system used to work in the past. So if my vacation is not until 5 weeks from now, that in 5 weeks when I show up to Disney property, I can go to any guest services. It doesn't have to be Disney Springs. There's guest services at every park. There's in Disney Springs. The transportation center has guest services, any of those. And they will be able to hand me the cards and get me all squared away. So we'll have to get back to our viewers on exactly what the deal is, because I would like to know myself. I'm sure you would like to know.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So moving on to my experience, I did purposely get up prior to 6 a.m. today. I had read on another Facebook thread days ago that was saying 6 a.m. was the start time. I didn't know if that meant that the phone lines were going to be open at 6 or not, and they weren't. So I got into the queue the same as Lance got in. I was actually in the queue prior to 6. It told me the same thing. You're going to have a wait of at least an hour. That went to something like 10 minutes, and then it went to 5 minutes, and then before I knew it, I was in. So once I actually got to the screen where I could choose the passes that I wanted and then attempt to buy them, it was 6:20. So it wasn't actually too bad. And it's amazing that, I mean, obviously Disney knows if you have an account with them, you have your My Disney Experience account, they pretty much know everything about you and they know where you live. And I noticed that when I got into that screen, it didn't show me all 4 passes. It only showed me the 2, and it would be the same for you, I'm assuming, that we were eligible for. So we're not eligible
Right.
for Pixie Dust or the Pirate because we're not Florida residents. And it knows
Right.
that we live in Pennsylvania. So it only showed
Correct.
me the Sorcerer and the Incredipass. So I did not complete the transaction, and here's why. I am already going to the parks in October, and I already bought passes because I didn't know when annual passes were going to go on sale. Remember, this is a very recent announcement that passes were coming back, and then them saying that today was the day. This is all very recent. So I bought my tickets a while ago because I didn't want to wait, and I wanted to get park reservations because knowing when a park is going to run out of reservations on any particular day is an
Oh, yeah.
unknown. Only
Right.
Disney knows that. They're the only ones that know the numbers behind the scenes. And when capacity is hit, whatever number in the sky that they've picked for that day at that particular park. So I wanted to be proactive and get my tickets well ahead of time, which we did, and everybody in my party did. And I made my reservation. So now I've got 6 days that I plan to go in the parks in October. And if I get an annual pass, I'm limited to 5 reservations at any one time if I'm staying off property. And for this particular trip, I am. This is one of only a few times I'm actually staying off property. Normally, I'm on a property at one of the many resorts. So I've already exceeded that 5 limit by 1 day. So I decided not to buy online. 7 o'clock rolls around. I call into the VIP hotline, or the pass holder VIP hotline, and I get the automated attendant. So the automated attendant is, how can I help you today? And what I feel, I thought I succinctly said, buy annual pass. It didn't take me to the sales queue. It said, oh, you want to make a dining reservation. And there was no way for me to back out at this point
Right.
other than hang up and try and get back in. Now, to get to this point, and I wrote it down, I made notes. So it was 35 call attempts to get to that point, to hit the automated attendant where I could try and pick something. 35 call attempts.
Wow.
I started at 7:09 until I actually got to speak to somebody. I didn't write that down, but I know it was like an hour and 40 minutes later or more,
Oh,
until I
wow.
finally spoke to a person, and his name was Peyton. Very nice cast member named Peyton. And I said, okay, here's what just happened to me an hour and 40 minutes ago. I wanted to buy an annual pass, and it told me dining reservations. I'm like, so can you help me buy an annual pass? Or are you here to help me with a dining reservation? And he's like, I can only help you with a dining reservation. I can't sell you a pass. And he couldn't transfer me directly to anybody. So what he kindly offered to do, which was very nice, was he's like, let me get your name and your number and your telephone number. I will forward this information over to the sales department, and you will get a phone call, but it's probably going to be another hour or two until you get that phone call back. So fast forward between an hour and two, I get a call. Now, unfortunately, Lance and I have jobs during the day, right? So we're working, and I'm on a call with a customer. So I see this 407 number come in on my phone. I know it's Disney because nobody else would be calling me from Florida. So I quickly try and hang up with the person that I'm talking to for my job. Until I hang up, I've missed the call from Disney now.
Oh, no.
So I'm panicking and trying to figure out what to do, and there's really nothing for me to do. So long story short, 5 minutes later, my phone rings again. It's Disney. I answer. I get a hold of Indiana is the cast member, another very friendly, very courteous cast member on the phone lines there. And I explained to Indiana what's occurred, what my dilemma is with having 6 days already booked. And she informs me that if I go through with the process of converting my already purchased tickets for October into an annual pass, and if you're asking why I would do that, because I've already laid out money for these tickets, right? So I just have to pay the difference between what I've already paid for my tickets and what the annual pass is going to cost me. So it lowers the amount of money that I would have had to lay out today for annual passes. So unfortunately, what happens is, because my reservation's already booked, but they came from just having a plain old ticket, that's a different pot of reservations, or a different bucket. Think of it as buckets. There's one for annual pass holders, there's one for resort
Right.
guests, and there's ones for people who just straight up buy a ticket and say, I want to go to the park on this day.
Right. Yep.
My reservations are already made through just the regular ticket bucket because I'm staying off property. So I don't meet any of those buckets. Now, if I buy an annual pass, they will basically delete all of my reservations, and there's nothing I can do about it. I would immediately have to go back in and make more reservations, which now come out of the annual pass holder bucket for those parks during my trip. The problem is I hit that 5-day limit,
Right.
because now I'm booking reservations as an annual pass holder and not
And
as
you get
somebody who
5.
just bought tickets. And
Right.
I'm trying to stay 6 days in the parks. I've hit this limit of 5. So basically, I have 3 options at this point. A, I can call them back tomorrow and I can say, I still want to convert my tickets to an annual pass, and they're going to remove my passes or my reservations. I can book 5 of those 6 days, and then I can't book the sixth day until I'm in the park on the first day, and then I'm back to the 5. Second option is I buy an annual pass and I pay full price for it. And now I don't use that until my next trip sometime in 2022. Last choice is I do nothing right now. I take the risk of not buying an annual pass. I show up to Disney in October, and after I'm already in the parks the first day, I'm now down to 5 reservations. I can then go to guest services
Upgrade.
during my first day and say, I want to convert my tickets to an annual pass. I'll pay the difference, and I'm not above that 5 day limit.
Right.
So that
No,
was my adventure.
that's a tough call for sure.
It is, and I don't know which direction I'm going to go. So I can
Well,
always call back tomorrow.
here's some news that I just got as you were talking. So my travel advisor, thank you, Katie. You're the best. Was watching, and she did clarify for us that just like the old passes, expires a year from first activation. So if that helps you, I hope in your decision making process. But yes, it is just like the old passes. It will expire a year from first activation. So if you're not going down, let's say you buy them tonight and you just flat out just straight up buy them, then your voucher will probably be good for the year. Excuse me. And then from the first activation, I don't know if you want to take a trip down in like February, we'll go play some golf, you and me. Um, and you can activate your annual pass
Sounds good.
then. Yeah, let's do it. But yeah, so yeah, thank you, Katie. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. So yeah, I don't know if that changes things for you or not, Les.
It's good to know because definitely, if anybody that's watching has any interest in buying annual passes, it's definitely something that I want to know because that's the way that it used to be, and it would be really a shame if they're
Right.
changing the rules on a lot of things, and a lot
Right.
of their guests and their fans are kind of reaching a point of enough is enough. I mean, prices have gone up
Yeah.
on everything across the board. These
Sure.
annual
Sure.
passes, they've taken away some of the benefits that you used to have. There's not as many
Right.
annual passes that there used to be, especially if you were a Florida resident. You had a lot more options as a Florida resident than you do now.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah, they used to do the after four passes and the weekday passes and all that stuff. But I mean, to be honest with you, I understand from a business standpoint why Disney's doing it. As much money as they make on a day to day basis, being shut down for 3 months, you know, they do have to make up for it some way somehow. I'm not saying that right, wrong, good, bad, or whatever. It just is what it is, right? But the other thing, though, is the biggest complaint that people, and any whether it's you're a resort guest, a DVC owner, a just somebody who just on a whim bought a ticket for Disney that day, the crowds have gotten to be somewhat large, and one of the biggest complaints is the crowds and the crowd levels at Disney. So I think a little bit of this, price hiking stuff is a little bit, let's make up the money that we lost for being shut down for 3 months. And a little bit of it is, especially with getting rid of the Florida resident type passes, is a little bit more of a crowd control. Again, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm not here to say. My opinion's my opinion, and I'm sure other people out there have varying different opinions. But hey, another conversation for another time. But I think that if you're into Disney, you know, some of the options, you can spin it good, bad, or however you want to spin it. The takeaway is, yeah, they did raise the price of passes, but hey, inflation is a thing. They did take away some of the perks, but it's kind of like this guy I work with. He he doesn't really buy mainstream flagship phones because he says, I don't care about the camera. I don't care about the pixels on the screen. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. So he's one of those guys that, hey, if I don't have to pay for the photo pass because I'm not going to use it, like, great. Uh, Not that it was any money out of Disney's pocket anyway to include the photo pass, but you know what I'm saying. The options and the a la carteness is for people who don't want to spend the money on a particular thing. It can be a good thing. That's
Yeah,
just my opinion.
there's
So
there's people that if you read the different Facebook groups, the comments that are coming out of them, or you listen to the bloggers and vloggers and everybody, there are people that are like, nothing's changed for me. I'm still going.
right,
Yeah, I
right,
understand what they're doing, and it doesn't bother me like it seems to bother a lot of other people. And then you got the flip side. You got people that, I'm done. I'm gonna start giving all my money to Universal. I'm not buying annual passes anymore.
yeah,
But let's not mistake the fact that at the end of the day, Disney is a business, and they
correct,
answer to shareholders. And
right,
shareholders for any company that are holding that company's stock demand a return on their investment. So while I understand that they are a business and they're in the business to make money, that's yes, that they are.
yeah,
No matter how much you don't want to hear it, they are in the business to make money. What I don't want to see, and what I've heard um, other people say is, yes, you've lost billions of dollars. I forget what the number was that they put out, but they've lost billions because of the pandemic. But you can't try to make that all back right in the beginning. Once obviously the
right,
parks have been open for more than a year now,
right,
but now you finally just brought annual passes back. A lot of restaurants are finally reopening.
hmm
Prices are up across the board for regular tickets, for food and drinks when you go into the park properties and at all the resorts, and now annual passes.
right.
Just don't try and you can't make all that money back right away, you know.
No, no,
So
yeah, I agree. But I mean, if you look at historically, they did how many price hikes since 2015, right? For just the regular hotels ticket pricing, and then they went to the dynamic ticket pricing, and then they got rid of the expiration or the non-expiring tickets. And for a while, they kind of had them in tandem, where you had a use buy ticket, and then you had a, for a little bit more money, a use anytime ticket. Um, so it's, I think it is an effort to make a little bit more money, and looking back at it, Disney's steadily increased their prices. If you look at a 1990s annual pass, they were like $200 ish. I want to say $200-300. Um, but again, Disney prices are as high as they've ever been. Yet people still go. The
yeah,
crowd's still getting more and more crowds. You know what I mean? So it's yeah, people are going to complain because social media allows people to do such things and complain, and people will listen, and you bandwagon jump and whatever. That's the unfortunate thing about social media. Fortunate, unfortunate, whatever you want to say. But people will complain. They're regardless. Will people still go to Disney? Absolutely. So you know,
yeah, but they're pricing out those families that were probably already struggling to be able to save to go.
yeah,
It's going to be even tougher, if not impossible,
eh,
for
it
some
is.
families to
But
go now.
true, but I mean, they do still offer. So, I am one of those families that saves to go, right? Um, well, was so, but we have always just been like, we're going to go to Disney, and however we make it happen, whether we save for 2 years and then we go, you know, and then every 2 years, or and we don't stay at a deluxe resort. it is possible for families to still go to Disney, and it is possible to have a good time and make that, you know, magical experience. Now, are they making it a little bit harder for families to go a lot? Sure, unless you have the money to back it up. But I still think they are still making it achievable because they still do have the value resorts. They still do allow you to book 300 and what is it, 360 days or 400 days out, and make your payments. If you don't have a lot of money, if you're not really I'm going to save and you know put this money aside and then pay for it. Disney does offer the 0% financing option, to where you put a $200 deposit down on your trip, and you make payments every month at 0% interest, and your final payments due 30 days before. And the nice thing about it is, it's like you don't even need to make a payment every single month. You can make a payment every week. You can make a payment every 3 months. You can make a $200 deposit, not make a payment for 8-9 months, and then boom, 30 days before arrival date, you pay your trip off. So they do still make it attainable for, I say, your average, or even you're not even so well to do, the not to get, whatever, but the people who don't make quite as much as the rest of us, right? It still can be attainable, I feel, you know and they're not lacking customer service either. Like, the park is still, top notch customer service every time I've gone. And I think that's really what, sets Disney apart from the Universal. So I will pay a little bit more money for an annual pass, um, over Universal, where they're just kind of meh.
Yeah, my trip in April, I was curious to see how the cast members would be, and they were all fantastic. Across the board, they were all fantastic. Whether I was at the resort, whether I was in a restaurant, whether I was in a park. So at that, they're doing a good job.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I mean, it can't be easy for them either, and we can't expect to pay a cast member, you know, in pickles, to do that good of a job, and deal with and I'll be quite honest with you, some of the guests' behavior have been, especially lately, have been just god awful. They shut down. What did they shut down? A couple months ago, they shut down Living with the Land because some idiot, got out of their boat to steal a cucumber, and then they just recently, I think, somebody got out of the boat in Pirates just recently, and I think there was just a report a couple weeks ago of cast members breaking up a fight, with some guests, and even guests bullying cast members when they don't, hear the answer that they want. All well within the cast members' rights to refuse certain things, but like, come on, guys, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there was a fight literally this week on one of the ferry boats going over to Magic
Yep, that's what it
Kingdom.
was. Yes, yeah.
That was caught on camera, shared on social media, and while I never did see what the end result was, you can pretty much expect that security swarmed the boat once it arrived
Oh yeah,
dockside
for
at
sure.
Magic Kingdom, and those participants were probably escorted right off the property. So, but
Right.
yeah, point taken. Visitor behavior has been kind of atrocious lately. So,
Yeah. A couple weeks ago, there was a visitor that left their dog in the car at Hollywood Studios. Like, who does that? Come on, you know. Ay ay ay. What can you do?
so if you have questions about annual passes, please let us know through social media, and we'll do our best to answer your questions. I have a decision to make how I'm going to proceed with me. I will be getting annual passes. It's just what path do I take? It's choose your own adventure. So,
Yeah. Well, we will keep you guys posted again with the latest news, tips, and tricks to get you the most out of your Disney vacation. Again, my name is Lance, and we're here with Les. And yeah, so if you're not subscribed already, please consider subscribing and turning notifications on so that you guys know whenever we release new content. This Sunday, 4 p.m., we are finishing up our series on the Epcot Food and Wine Festival. So make sure you put that on your calendar and check out that video. And if you do like any of our stuff, guys, please click the like button, share it with your friends. It really helps out the channel. And you can find us on Facebook and Instagram. And guys, much appreciated. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.